Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday live stream. A lot of things to talk about, so let's just jump right into it. So, like the title and thumbnail suggest, it is interesting times because I've been seeing this everywhere within the crypto sphere, whether that be on X or YouTube or any of the social media platform. It's the same thing, which is these 5 months are killing us. And I keep hearing about how these 5 months, this is a rare event when we've had 5 straight months of negative returns for Bitcoin. And I have to tell you, I mean, it sounds awful, but it's not that bad. I know people like to, bring out the worst or the most flash so they can, talk about it and gain interest, and that's fine, but that's not the case. So if we can just see here, this is for on Ben's site, Bitcoin monthly returns table, we can see that, yes, it's been pretty awful. I mean, since October 6th being the high, that month was, people will say it was brutal. I mean, over the month time for the returns, it was a return of -4%, which you think to yourself like, yeah, it's not too bad, but we did see a substantial drawdown. We'll go over that in a bit. But then it just got worse in November at 17.5%. December was kind of a choppy month. And then January and February so far. And of course, I think February is going to get worse. We're down almost 15%. So that's 1, 2, 3, a 4, a 5. And it sounds pretty awful because you're like, wow, 5 straight months, pretty bad. But if you look at the entirety of the market and where we've been, it's actually pretty tame. I know people don't like to hear that, but it is. So if we go back and we see just how volatile things were back in the day, and people don't want to recognize this time frame, but it is. We know Bitcoin came out, white paper 2009, everything started to get tracked and everything, 10, 11, 12. 2012 was, our first halving, then 16, and then we've had some blow off tops, and we've had some pretty bad bear markets. But look at this, just going back to 2011. Imagine this. You put in your, a certain amount, and, you're up, you may have put pennies into it. Now it's over $1. You can't believe it. This is awesome. And then 1 month it goes down 15%. Well, that was July 2011, which of course you're like, well, who cares? That's in February, we lost almost 15% too. But now do this. The next month in August 2011, you're down 40%. Then the next month after that, you're down another 40%, 36%, and 12%. So right there, there's 5 months. I know people don't like to talk about it because it was so early, and I get it. But there's other months when it was pretty bad, and there's 5 months straight. Go up to 2014. You got 0.08, technically speaking, a negative month. Then 5%, 18%, roughly 20%, and 10%. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So not as bad. You got 20, 30, but look at this, 20, 30, 48. You're looking at 53, 54% drawdown in 5 months. Okay. Now, again, these are all by months. It's not total cumulative drawdown. I get that. But I mean, just imagine being in 2014 and hearing the same thing in 2011. Bitcoin's dead. You're investing in internet nerd money. You're a loser. You don't know what you're doing. You're a moron. It is, back down below $100. You need to sell and get out because you don't know what you have no clue what the banks need, what everybody wants. You are a mess up. Now, if you wouldn't listen, that would have been pretty good, I think, right? And that's where we're at right now. So 2014, okay, kind of bad, I should say. But look at 2018. This is when I got in. In 2017, I got in, I was like, man, this is the easiest thing of all time. Just throw a dart at the dartboard and nail it. Well, 2017, everything was going good, coming over to here. Then once we hit 2018, that first January rocked us, 22%, then a green, then a red, then a green, red, red. But then as we get later into that bear market, and this was pretty bad. In August, you had negative 14%, then 5%, then 3%. And you're like, this will be okay, Chinese New Year is over, whatever people were talking about. And then people, just a little bit ago, were talking about people were selling because of, tax harvesting, and that's what they have to do. And of course, there's something about quantitative tightening or easing. And, you hear these narratives just like you do back then. You're like, it'll be okay. And then boom, 32% down the month, November. Boom, 10%. Bam, another 10% in 2019 of January. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months of negativity going into 2019. Pretty awful, right? So we've had this time, we had 2014, and of course we had 2011. And now here we are with our 4, 17, 3, 10, and 14. Pretty awful, but not too bad. So we're looking at 24, 7, 37, 43. I'll take it. I'll take that okay. I know people will say, well, this is brutal and it's been so quick. Not really. And like we did a whole video on this back when I just talked about, and of course, 2013 was a little bit different. There wasn't, let me make sure, there wasn't 5 consecutive months of negativity. However, from the drawdown of 2013 to 2014, and that's actually there when there was, how long did it take for us to, for what was the top? It was $1,100 on November 29, 2013. And by 18th of December 2013, let me do some quick math here. So November 29th, 18, was that like 20 days? You just dropped 50%. You dropped 50% in 20 days. Then you go to April, down 65, then 74, then 85%. That's a bear market. 2017, you hit your top at roughly 20,000 December 15th. And guess what? On 6th of February, you're down 65%. So let me do some more quick math. So December 15th, January 15th. So you're looking at what, 7 weeks? 6, 7 weeks? You're down 65% in 6 or 7 weeks. Okay. That's cute. How about this one? 21. November 9th, 2021, you had 67,000. Everybody's happy, right? Then in January, 22nd, January 2022, what do we get? Roughly 50%. We're down 48%. So again, December, oh man. So again, it's like another 6 weeks. 6 weeks, you're down 50%. And now everybody's crying about this cycle, except you guys. Everybody here is cool. I appreciate you guys just for showing up, because you're the ones that are going to do pretty well. Man, I am sick of the crying and complaining about it. And again, nobody here, just in general, especially on X, a bunch of crybabies. You can see here, October 6, 2025 was the high, 126K. And people say, well, it was awful, it was brutal. It wasn't. I mean, just comparatively too, went from October 6th to 7th of October down 14%, roughly 15. Then of course we had a little rally, and we went down 32%, 22nd of November, then a little rally to 14th of January, and then what would be considered the local bottom, 5th of February. So let me do some quick math. October 6th to 5th of February. Let's see, November 6th, December 6th, January 6th. Roughly 4 months it took us to get to 50%. So as people talk about speed and brutality, just take a look back. And that's pretty much how it is. So this was the 4th worst. And I expect things to get easier for our bear markets, but this time of cycle will probably get worse. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section. Sorry that was so, well, it wasn't brutal, just the truth. Let's talk about some good stuff, shall we? AI and what's going to happen. Now I'm just going to touch on this briefly because I see there's a problem coming up, but I see there's a solution. This is Jeremy Allaire. He's the head of Circle. Does that nice little stable coin called USDC. And he said, hey, this is great. A USDC-enabled payment gateway for AI agents can be easily implemented with OperClaw, which everybody's talking about. Super impressed to see startups executing so fast. And this is the video.
Hi, how can I help?
I want to make purchases. I want to execute this trade. I can't do that. I'm an AI agent. Pay this agent. I can't move funds. Call this and scrape this. I need an API key. Essentially, it's another wallet which can do microtransactions, which you can't do on PayPal, you can't do on Visa, you can't do on MasterCard. So well, no, this is Sponge. Y Combinator is the actual helping founders. So they created a wallet where you can do microtransactions with USDC, and I'm sure at some point they're going to do Tether because that's the largest stablecoin out there globally speaking. So why is this important? Well, it's important, first of all, because USDC, even though it's a stablecoin, people are like, who cares, Rob? It's a stablecoin. As a reminder for my thesis, the There's a reason why Visa is tracking these stable coins, more specifically the rails. If you just go to their website at visaonchainalytics.com, you can see the winners, and it's the same one. It's the same one I've been saying for quite some time. I could be wrong. I mean, I'm wrong. I'm wrong plenty of times. That's my wife. She'll tell you. But it's just pick the best. The best are Binance, Ethereum, Solana, Tron. Now, Base is in there. You got me on that one, but no token for that. So the best. And that's for, what is this? Transaction volume. Here's transaction count. Again, the best. Binance, Ethereum, Solana, Tron. And then you go up transaction size. This goes USDC. Then it breaks down for you beautifully here. Stablecoin, USDT or USDC, which is 93% of the stablecoin transaction volume and what is being moved. And what are the top ones? The best. Binance, Ethereum, Solana, Tron. So you just take that together and go, okay, what are the altcoins to maybe invest into? I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you what I'm doing. I'm investing in the best. Binance, Ethereum, Solana, Tron. And then we have, on top of that, we've got Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, and he comes out and says, look, I support what's going on. The Treasury Department came out and said, look, we support the presidential's AI action plan. Remember, President of the United States got a big plan for AI, which is smart. Also has a big plan for crypto, also smart. Now let's put them together. U.S. Department of the Treasury today announced the conclusion of a major public-private initiative to strengthen cybersecurity and risk management for AI in the financial services sector. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is totally on board with that. Says, yes, we need to actually make sure that we win here and in the crypto market. So moving forward with that, I like it. I like what I see, but I see an issue. I see an issue with AI agents. First of all, has anybody tried OpenClaw? Has anybody tried to use it as an AI agent? Just curious. Okay, so it's a pain, and I don't care what people tell you, like it's the easiest thing of all time. It's not. It's simple, but it has some errors. AI does these things called hallucinations, where it will, and you can look this up, AI hallucinations, where the things that are being done, they'll just make stuff up. It's like the worst accountant of all time. And they just make things up as far as like, and that's ChatGPT, that's Gemini, that's Grok. They'll pick a narrative, they'll go with it, and they'll give you wrong information. Now, for them to do that and for you to generate that, you got to pay for that. And there's this thing called tokens. And the big thing, of course, they were talking about was using these stable coins to pay for API access, to pay for trades, to pay for things long in the AI verse, I suppose. And because of that, I see a problem, and the problem is that people are going to run up a massive bill, but they're going to run up a massive bill either on if they're going to do a big integration or small integrations like we were talking about here with Jeremy Allaire. If that happens, there's a lot of payments going on. But don't take my word for it. This is Jason Kaliakakis. I guess I said his name right. He's one of the four on the host of the All In podcast, and he's doing this majorly on his business. But take a listen to what his problems are, which are also my problems. Take a listen to this.
With our agents hit $300 a day per agent using the Claude API, like instantly. And that was like maybe 10 or 20%. That's $100,000 a year per agent.
We're getting to a place where we have to basically now say, what is the token budget that we're willing to give our best devs? And then if you aggregate it across all people, you can clearly see a trend where you're like, well, hold on a second. Now they need to be at least 2x as productive as another employee. That is actively happening inside my business because otherwise I'll run out of money.
Yeah, this is a very interesting trend that you're not going to hear anybody else talk about. But when do tokens outpace the salary of the employee? Because you're about to hit it. I'm about to hit it.
When he said tokens, don't get excited. He's not talking about crypto tokens. He's talking about the tokens that he used to generate the AI for it to function and actually move things and do things. So when he's talking about that, just be aware. I don't want you to be disillusioned. But to pay for those things and microtransactions, they're going to be using the rails that are stable coins, which are built on the best. Binance, Ethereum, Solana, Tron. Anyhow, let me know what you think about that in the comment section. And then to finish this up, I had on Ivan yesterday from Ivan on Tech. And that guy is entertaining. I will tell you that. He's funny. But he's got this great thing called Bullmania. We talked about, if you guys want to check it out, there's some free training for it. The link's in the description. And I've been following this now for a couple of weeks. I got to tell you, it's looking pretty good. So, when I click on like Bitcoin, I thought it was interesting just how well they timed it on the weekly. And again, I'm not a big TA guy, obviously. I'm not a big trader guy, but I am disappointed in myself for not taking more profits, and I'm going to rectify that this run. But anyhow, you see like here, this was back in October. Things were kind of bullish. Now, no one's going to nail the absolute top, but I like here where it got down to like 107,000. And then actually it was, where did it go to? Yeah, 108, 107. And then it turned bearish. And once they turned bearish, I know Ivan was talking about selling. And I'm like, damn, it did work out pretty well. And then what's pretty cool about this is I get to go through all these ones that flick bearish or bullish. It's just something that I like to take a look at. So if you're into something like that, there's links in the description. You can check out the Bullmania. Again, I just want more tools in my tool belt. And then lastly, where are we? Not this one. Oh, lastly, dynamic DCA. So I've been buying crypto every Monday. Dynamically DCA, if you don't know what that is, there's a link in the description. You can check out that video under the crypto critical videos. But just know that when you dynamically DCA, instead of like buying every single day, you just pick a day that you do it on, like I do it on Monday. And then depending on the risk levels, you either increase or decrease the amount that you put in. It's worked pretty well. If you would have done this back in 2022, like we saw that brutal bear market we talked about, and would have been doing this, you could have put in, if it was $700 a week, which I know is pretty high, well, let's just do $70 a week. That's better. If you did $70 a week, you'd be up almost 200% even at this low. If you're over here and you would have topped out around November, you still would have been up 400%, so not too bad. And you would have sent 17,000, had 30,000. Something to take a look at. But for me, I have during this time frame, if you're in America, I have to contribute to my Roth IRA before April 15th. And because of that, my Roth IRA is my retirement. I can trade within the Roth IRA and not pay taxes, which is pretty sweet and nice. And I will be doing dynamic DCAing for my spot for the Roth IRA, and that will be through iTrust. And right now, I took a look at my portfolio. I'm surprised I'm doing this well. And if it wasn't for, this is why I talk about diversification, because in iTrust, it's Bitcoin, cryptos, and then precious metals. I did not know this because I don't really look at this too often. I just buy. But my silver is now the #2 position. And I didn't buy that much back in the day. Amazing. And it's an important lesson for, especially for me, is if I'm going to do this, I got to make sure I diversify. Again, links in the description for iTrust, for a Roth IRA, tax-free investing, especially for those for retirement accounts. And that's it for today. Like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe, and now let's get into a little Q&A, answer all your questions, and we'll go further. All right. Fat men drive trucks. Now, sometimes. So he says, at least wait for summertime lows. That's probably a good idea. And see, it's if we look specifically at the 4-year cycles, we shouldn't be doing anything until February, right? Or, excuse me, October, what am I saying? We shouldn't be doing anything until October because that will be 1 year, and that's when we bottom. However, like when I see this, I'm like, okay, there's a couple of tranches. So I can invest every week, just, you know, not like enough to where I'm out on the streets and I'm homeless, but disposable income that I have that I can invest, and I follow the rules, right? The rules, which the very first rule is it's all gone, or don't invest more than you can afford to lose. So if I do that, then I should be okay. Now, when we get to like these 200-week moving averages, or we start to get really low exponentially, if we take a look at the dynamic parts, if I still have other funds that I'm able to shore up or to become available, then it's not a bad thing. So I'm always worried that I'm missing opportunities, especially in these bear markets. And I know it could go down to 50. Some people are even saying 30K. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, some people are saying that 60K was already, or 59,900, whatever it was already the bottom. If that's true, then here we are. I still think we could go into the low 50s from there, but that's why I dynamically DCA. All right. Sean Rump says, some kind of slowness on the StreamYard thing. Hey, Rob, great show. You show the best day to DCA. What's the best day to sell? I think there really is a best. Well, I mean, people will tell you, like, you know, going into the weekend, usually a better day, because during the weekend, that's when TradFi shuts off and they got to cover whatever their losses are. So you'll see like dips on Saturdays and Sundays, but some people say, no, you never see dips on Sundays because that's when everything kind of regenerates. So for this one, it's not so much about buying, it's about timing the sells and de-risking. So for that, I don't know if there really is a specifically good day for that. I wish there was, it'd be awesome, but I don't. Yeah, exactly. Frosty P says, Rob, you should have invested in Snapple back in the night. Isn't that awful? I was too busy being in college for that. Didn't have time to invest in a Snapple. Should invest in a Google. That didn't come out too much longer after that. Let's see. Yeah, that's true. Best day to sell is when something like the Trump coin launches, or when there's like the CME gap, and there's like a big divide between the closing times. Frosty P says, iTrust doesn't export a CSV for your tax reporting. I'll have to talk to them. But that one, usually what I do is I just tell my CPA, like, this is how much I invested into crypto and my retirement account. That's pretty much all I do. They don't want an itemized report. They just want a total report piece. But that's my CPA. So I'm not for sure how that works with yours. Is there a storm in PR? Let me see. No, I've just been having pretty bad internet lately. Like today on the NFA live show, for like the first 20 minutes, I couldn't even get on. Hey, that's the beauty of Puerto Rico sometimes. It's just how it goes. Let's see. Use. Right. And you can also use, I mean, Coin Ledger. That's one I've been using now for 5 years, as far as like for tax reporting. Speaking of which, in tax reporting, I'm going to be having on the folks from Coin Tracker or Coin Ledger because I need them to come on with this new 1098 DA form that's coming out. It's going to make it a little bit more difficult for all of us, but I'll get them on there. I think that's it. That's interesting. I didn't know that. CryptoVerse said Trump token, that POS, which I believe is the proof of stake. Sure. The proof of stake token clogged Solana network up, and I couldn't even sell my other Solana tokens. Wow. You know how much volume you have to do for that on Solana? That takes like 4 tokens in Ethereum. So I'm just saying. No, I'm just kidding. Ethereum's great. It's one of the best, as I said before. Wow. That's a good one. Hello, everyone. Some useful information others might be counting on. Per Kraken forum post, Kraken said they are trying to get out tax forms by March 13th. They haven't finished yet. No. March 13th, yeah, it gives us about a month or so. I got to tell you, Kraken is what I use to buy my alts, the Binance, Ethereum, Solanas, and Trons. But sadly enough, to open up a business account for Kraken for a animal shelter here in Puerto Rico, apparently takes months to do. I don't know how that happens. No wonder banks kill us, or banks crush us. We can't even do the most simple things to get things done. It's amazing. I don't think it's a Kraken issue. I think it's a KYC AML type of issue, which they're being stymied with. But it is telling where we're at. Ed's here. No mention of Bitcoin going to zero. Searches spiked. Yeah, I just saw a little snippet where, like in Google Trends, Bitcoin going to zero, I think just like spiked today or yesterday. So you know what that means? It's called a bottom. That could be a bottom indicator. But gosh, it's only like, what, 67,000? So yeah, Holleridge says, I think the FTX Luna Celsius BlockFi collapse is a lot scary. it was scary during that time. You guys remember how that was, but it wasn't as bad, because when you look at it from the outside looking in, you're like, well, or the inside looking out, you're like, well, it wasn't because people lost interest in Bitcoin. It wasn't because this altcoin totally collapsed, although Luna did collapse under its own weight, and different problems with the ecosystem, depegging of their stable coin, and so on and so forth. But it was mostly man-made errors, and of course that eroded trust. But it was all because of these exchanges. Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX, Alex Muskamsky, I think that's how you say his name. Scamsky for Celsius. Then Voyager was no treat. 3 Hours Capital and Luna, a little BlockFi action, and all those things. But we knew that it wasn't the underlying assets that were the problem. It wasn't, the proof of stake or the proof of work. The problem was just the exchanges around and the greed that was in there. That was easy to expel. What's harder to swallow is when you've got big, massive whales selling, essentially saying we don't believe in this vision anymore. I think that's a bigger problem. Good thing we still got Michael Saylor, right? Let's see how that works out. Even the D.A.N indicator failed to trail this time. Yeah, it was something that we missed. That's for sure. Yeah. Roy Jones says, can you do a backdoor Roth IRA, an iTrust, or a regular investment firm? You absolutely can. Roy, what I would do is, the reason why I like iTrust is because first, they actually made it through 2022. So you knew that they were doing the right things, and they're still here. And they've actually grown. And what's another great thing about them is that when you go, there's a link in the description, when you go to the website, there's a phone number. You call that phone number, and a person picks up the phone. And then you say, I have questions. And they say, well, let me direct you to a person who can answer those questions. And then they transfer you to another person. It's insane. Like real people. I actually met them when I went to California. So just give them a call to, actually, about 6, what is it, like 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock on Pacific time. So yeah. And just talk to somebody, and they'll tell you all about it. All right. Anyhow, guys, I think that's it. We're going kind of long today. So thanks so much for stopping by. Appreciate today's video. Thumbs up, subscribe, all that great stuff. And of course, I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you.